Welcome back to the Sydney Cricket Ground for match 2 of the 2020 New South Wales Premier Cricket Finals here at the prestigious Sydney Cricket Ground. We've just finished the match between Sutherland and St George. Sutherland advancing by 6 wickets, chasing down that total of 112. St George knocked out. So Sutherland have booked their place in the final. They can put their feet up and relax a little bit and no doubt analyse the performance of these two teams, which is Penrith and Sydney University, with the game set to scheduled to start at 2:35. It was scheduled to happen at 2:30, but there was a few little issues with sight screens and a bit of delay and different things like that. But it's all been sorted now, so only a 5-minute delay there, so there'll be a 2:35 start. So Penrith up against Sydney University. Penrith undefeated so far in this tournament. They made the final last season. I'd love to go one better, but they've got a stern task ahead of them. A Sydney University side that has some quality players, none less than in-form New South Wales opening bat Nick Larkin. So we'll see how he goes today, as well as the rest of the Sydney University players. Penrith, of course, have New South Wales representative Ryan Gibson at the top of their order, as well as some big hitters like Johnny Di Bartolo. Steve Green is next to me in the commentary box, much like he was in the first 20 overs. And a nice win for Sutherland, Steve, but now we focus on this second game. Sutherland have obviously guaranteed safe passage through to the final, and now we've got a good game on our hands between Penrith and the students. How do you, how's your gut feeling towards this one? Which way do you think it's going to lean?
Well, I'd like to see Penrith go through, but purely because they made it last year and fell just short, losing to Sydney. And Sydney Uni, they're always up and about near the top, so it'd be good to see Penrith go through. But it should be a good contest, and see who beats or gets the chance to play Sutherland in the final, and then progress to playing Adelaide.
Yep, so the winners of each conference, so Sutherland, regardless of how they perform in the final, are already through to the Premier Cricket Championships in Adelaide. Whoever wins this game will join them as well. But obviously the $12,000 cheque and the trophy is probably a little bit more enticing as well for the side that can win the game. The final later today, which will be played at 6:30 under lights, so make sure you don't go anywhere after this match finishes. This match should finish roughly around 5:30, so there should be about an hour in between the games playing there. Let's just have a look at both the squads, the full 13-man squads for both sides. This is how the Sydney University side line up. They are captained by Liam Robertson. They've got Nicky Craze, Tim Cummins, Dougal Holloway, Max Hope, Ben Joy, Hayden Kerr, Joe Kershaw, Nick Larkin, Tim Lay, Devlin Malone, Ryan McElduff, Damien Mortimer and Nicholas Walker. Of course, not all of those players playing, but they are the squad list that we have in front of us. And for the Penrith Cricket Club, captained by Ryan Smith, Ryan Gibson, Johnny Di Bartolo, Brent Atherton, Cameron Weir, Brent Williams, Tyron Lydiard, Michael Collins, Luke Hodges, Chris Withers, Ryan Fletcher, Tom Sargent and Trent Weir. So that's how both those two sides will be lining up in today's contest, where you can just see the Sydney University guys just in their dressing sheds. It's going to be Penrith that have won the toss and have elected to bat. So Penrith will be batting first in this contest, with Ryan Gibson and Johnny Di Bartolo to open. And we've actually got those confirmed 11-man rosters now with the students. Tim Lay, Dougal Holloway, Ben Joy, Joe Kershaw, Liam Robertson, Devlin Malone, Nicky Craze, Tim Cummins, Hayden Kerr, Nick Larkin and Nicholas Walker. Max Hope is the 12th man for Penrith. They'll line up like this: Ryan Gibson and Johnny Di Bartolo. As we can hear a round of applause there for the Sydney University boys as they make their way out onto the field. Brent Atherton at 3, Mock Collins 4, Luke Hodges 5, Tyron Lydiard 6, Ryan Smith 7, then Cameron Weir, Trent Weir, Brent Williams and Chris Weathers, and Ryan Fletcher 12th man.
Sounds like the boys are up and about early. Good atmosphere.
They're loving it at the moment, getting behind their side, trying to push them into a finals berth against Sutherland. As when you compare it to Sydney University, not as much fanfare for Ryan Gibson and Johnny Di Bartolo. They make their way out into the middle of the field, but should be an absolute cracking contest, this one. Hopefully full of runs this time. So this is the Thunder Conference Final. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, Penrith going undefeated through their games. Very impressive performance. Tim Lay is going to be opening things up here for the students. So 2:37 local time here in Sydney. It's a sparkling blue sky, but those grey clouds have been pushed away a little bit. Probably a little bit of a haze this morning as well, and the sun's out, so the outfield's been dried up and the pitch has dried out a little bit and had that 40, close to 40 overs of cricket up before, so probably will assist these players a little bit more than when they had to play right this morning.
Yeah, just looking over the behind the Barongal stand, the clouds are starting to build up again. There is potential for a storm to come through. They said roughly about 6:30.
Oh, Tim Lee with a nice ball first up. It's a bit of bite outside the off stump, and Johnny Di Bartolo, who's not going to waste any time trying to find his groove, plays and misses at that one.
Yes, he will go hard, and if he gets hold of a few, he could be in for some entertaining overs.
He's batting just a little bit outside his popping crease as well. A dot ball, first ball, and there's a lot of Sydney University, probably lower grade players that are coming in here. Tim Lay in. This ball beats him outside the outside edge. A beautiful delivery there from Tim Lee.
I don't think I've ever seen the members stand this loud.
You're not allowed to be that loud, are you?
No.
Hence why the boos ring around the SCG and any ground when the Mexican wave makes its way around to the members stand.
And you've got Sydney Uni on one end of the stand and Penrith in the other corner.
There might be a little bit of there's a battle ensuing out in the field. I think there might be a bit of a battle in the members stand as well between who can be the loudest. I think the students are probably taking it at the moment, but if there's a fall, we might hear those Penrith fans. Tim Lay in, this ball off the inside edge, squeezed out through mid-wicket for a single. Di Bartolo off the mark as a Penrith, none for one after 3 balls.
The Penrith boys might have been listening to our conversation earlier about keeping the ball off the ground, throwing it in. Just reminding the umpires that they shouldn't be doing that.
It's a good start here from Tim Lee. He's going to be bowling to Ryan Gibson, the right-hander. Lay in outside the off stump, just kind of nudged backward a point for a single. So straight away Gibson off the mark.
Bowling some nice areas here at the moment. Kershaw.
So the slow clapping continues here at the SCG. Tim Lane to Di Bartolo beats him, all ends up. Played all around that one. Nice ball, just seamed in a touch. And that new ball really doing some talking at the moment, Steve.
He's just playing the wrong line at the moment. Everything seems to be only just missed. Everything seems to be troubling him.
This one slashed over the top, down to the man at third man, takes the catch, and a wicket straight away for Tim Lee, and he loves it. Di Bartolo goes, he struggled throughout this opening over, slashes hard at one outside the off stump, and lollies in the air, and the students have their first. Penrith 1 for 2.
Yeah, Di Bartolo's, that's the way he plays. He'll go hard, and this one he top edge and straight down the throat, down at third man.
So they're batting well outside his crease and threw their hands at it. Probably felt it was short enough, just didn't get onto it in the early part of his innings. Probably a bit of a frustrating 5-ball stay there for Di Bartolo. He departs for 1. And at the end of the first over, Penrith are 1 for 2. The new batsman in is Brent Williams, but joining Ryan Gibson, who's on 1. It's going to be Gibson on strike here. In fact, no, it's not. It's going to be Williams who's on strike. So let's see what the number 3 bat for Penrith can do here. Facing up to Joy. Joy comes in over the wicket. This ball just defended back down the ground. So Ben Joy, wearing the number 12 on his back, the big tall right arm quick from the Sydney University club. Right at the toes straight away to Williams. Here comes this ball just off the back foot, just pushed backward a point for a single. They think about a second, but opt against it as Devlin Malone does the fielding. Joy comes and he tries. He's been caught at second or first slip, I think. The umpire unmoved, and the students can't believe it. It kind of lollied in the air, made it look like it might have hit a shoulder or something, Steve, but Sydney University seemed pretty confident.
Yeah, I thought it came off the back originally.
Yep.
Yeah, top of the shoulder. Yeah. No, good decision.
Advancing down the track, as you can see in the replay, and he just brushes that shoulder. It's a nice take at first slip by Liam Robertson, the captain, but to no avail there for Sydney University. But they're creating opportunities, and they're certainly getting under the skin here of Penrith with a really ferocious display of fast bowling early on. Joy continues. Gibson back awkwardly, just tucks that around the corner for a single.
Interesting when you start moving around the crease, try to put the bowler off. Sometimes can have a negative effect on your batting. As you saw with that first ball from Joy to Gibson.
Joy in, frees the arms, and there's an appeal, and he's gone, caught behind. So 2 wickets very, very quickly for the students. Williams goes for 1, caught behind, and Penrith are 2 for 4. Rather innocuous. I didn't really think they'd hit anything, but maybe just a thin little inside edge there. And the catch taken comfortably by Tim Cummins. He gets his first, and Penrith are on the rack early on, 2 for 4.
Yeah, just tried to give himself some room and just gave himself too much. And a little tickle down to the keeper, and Penrith in deep trouble here at 2 for 4.
Well, we thought St George got themselves into trouble fairly early with the delay and losing both openers. Well, Penrith are in a lot more trouble than they were. So Cameron Weir comes out to the wicket. So the wickets that have fallen, Johnny Di Bartolo caught Joy, bowled Kershaw for 1, and Brent Williams caught Cummins, bowled Joy for 1. There's still 2 balls left, 1 ball left in this over. All of a sudden, scoring runs isn't your number 1 priority when you've lost a couple of early wickets. It's just trying to survive and build a few partnerships. And the students obviously buoyed by the couple early wickets and their vocal fans in the members pavilion, and will be enjoying themselves out in the middle of the SCG.
Yeah, bowler's doing a good job so far, just hitting into the wicket, just belting the. That's another good ball.
Just beats the outside edge. End of the over. 2 overs gone, 2 for 4. Gibson's on 2. Weir's yet to score. Johnny Di Bartolo 1 and Brent Williams 1, the victims that have fallen. Joe Kershaw 1 over, 1 for 2, and Ben Joy 1 for 2. So we were saying it was Tim Lay because that's what the scoreboard had, but in fact was Joe Kershaw that bowled that first over. continues here into his second over. There's one in the air just over the top of point for a single. Oh, they're walking a tightrope, aren't they, Penrith, at the moment? Some of these shots they're playing. Lost Gibson there. There would have been 3 for 4, and yeah, would have been in all sorts of drama.
Yeah, it was wide enough to hit. Probably not where he wanted it to go, but got away with it. Let's see if they can build a little partnership to steady the ship.
Kershaw in short ball. This ball loops off the high bit of the bat into the onside, and they pick up a single, but it's like they're being hurried up a little bit by the University quick, Steve, at the moment.
Yeah, as I said, they're bowling really, really well, just hitting the deck, really trying to hit that seam and get it to move around. Bowling good areas.
Kershaw continues 2 singles off this happening 2 balls. The lovely square drive finds some green pastures out in the deep, and they'll pick up a couple. It's a real classical cricket shot there from Ryan Gibson. Kershaw in once more. This ball the inside edge and dribbles to the offside, and they scurry through for a single. So trying to maybe it's even come off the glove, because Ryan Gibson's just holding that hand a little bit there as he gets to the non-striker's end.
Yeah, he doesn't look comfortable. He's shaking it around. Might have got it just on the little finger.
Pretty painful when you get the fingers kind of jammed in towards the bat as well. It's not a nice feeling. Here's just a look at that replay. Yeah. Bit of a painful one there. Kershaw in once more, playing away from the body, and a play and a miss by Weir. Bit of bounce. There just seems to be a lot more bounce than what we saw. It might be the varying lengths that Sydney University are bowling at, but particularly with that new ball, that ball kind of seemed to bounce a lot more than we were expected as he tried to cut that.
Yeah, the track's drying out a bit more. And flying through nicely. That's what you want as a bowler. It's good carry, even if the ball's not doing much off the deck. Just get it going through to the keeper about chest high is good.
It's going to be caught wide.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Touch and go. We'll see if it's inside the lines. It's pretty kind of pitched in line with where that marking is, but then moved away a little bit. So
it's a batsman's game.
Certainly was a tight one, but I guess by the letter of the law is technically a wide. So another run into the total. So 6 will come from this one. A much better one here for Penrith. Can they end it on a good note? Weir faces up to Kershaw. He's back and cutting over the top point. Risky shot. And will reach the boundary for 4. So it ends up being a very good over, but there were a few heart palpitations in that over. And Weir ends with a boundary. He's 5 off 4. Gibson 6 from 6. 10 coming from that. For 3 overs, Penrith batting first at 2 for 14.
Yeah, nice shot that. Just cramped him a little bit. But just leans back on it. The trusty King Sport bat gets it over the top for 4.
So run rate is 4.7 from 3 overs. And this partnership is now 10 after they were 2 for 4. Gibson faces up. Here is Joy charges and he drives on the up. Down to mid-off. No run there. Brent Atherton, the next man in, as well as Michael Collins and Luke Hodges, the top 7 for the Penrith boys. Once more, cutting where regulation second slip would be, going down towards the boundary. He's not going to get there, the fielder. Boundary here to the Penrith side. Gibson moves to double figures. It's a gallant effort down the boundary by Joe Kershaw, but just couldn't reel that one in. A couple of boundaries starting to come here for Penrith, 2 for 18.
Yeah, I don't know whether he was too wide on this one. It's hard at third man. You're sort of trying to cover the one that goes fine, and also the one that they hit wide backward of point. And that one did race down to the fence quite quickly.
In once more, it's on leg stump, flicked effortlessly away out through fine leg for 4. Another really classy stroke here from Ryan Gibson, who's playing a really nice innings. Just drifted ever so slightly onto the pads, clipped away with lovely timing. He goes to 14, 2 for 22.
Yeah, just bowled 2 straight there. He's come wide of the crease and angled the ball in, and Gibson's just helped himself for another boundary.
Back boundaries here. He's back and cutting just past the keeper for 4. So 3 consecutive boundaries to Gibson. And the Penrith fans in full voice now. Gibson goes to 18 from just 10 deliveries. That one not quite as convincing, but you take those as a batsman.
Well, especially when the first slip's just been taken out and moved elsewhere. Just seemed to keep a little bit low on him.
So all of a sudden that run rate that was 4.7 to start the over has gone to 7.1, so it shows if you can have a bit of luck and get a few balls away to the boundary, that run rate is going to soar. Joy in, advancing, and this one, a thick outside edge down towards the boundary. Good feeding down the boundary there by Kershaw, keeps it to 2, but 14 runs in the last 4 balls. He's looking to really try and punish the Sydney University bowlers, and I guess with his power play in the first 6 overs where you're only allowed to have 2 fielders outside the circle, you've got to probably take that as a batsman.
Yeah, you back yourself to get through the field. But he's just got to hit the deck here.
Joy comes in, this ball awkwardly lofted, just teasing the fielder out there, which was Hayden Kerr, the all-rounder. He picks up a single and he'll retain the strike. So a very good 15 coming from it. 25 have come from the last 2. They were 2 for 4 after 2. Now 2 for 29 after 4. Run rate 7.3. Gibson 21 from 12. And Weir is 5 not out from 4.
That was a better finish to the over. He purposely hit the deck hard. And it's very important the first and last balls of each over to start and finish your set well. It just sets the trend for either the over or the following over to come if it's your last ball.
This ball hit out into the deep, one bounce out there to the fielder, and it's just a single. Kershaw not being held back. He's into his 3rd over already. Comes over the wicket, and this ball is absolutely tonked into the stands a long way back. 15, 20 rows at least, and what a shot by Weir. Just wound up and said thank you very much. Cleared the front leg and hoiked that one over the square leg boundary for 6.
That was a brilliant shot. Just gave it everything. That's almost gone into the 2nd level.
That's not a small hit at all. I know generally the boundaries square the wickets are shorter than down the ground, but that is a mighty heave.
Yeah, we are on the end deck of the square, but still that's gone a really long way.
This is a much better delivery, just dinked onto the offside, and a bit of a slip and a tumble out there. And Tim Lee, and they'll pick up a single. So the runs have certainly flowed for Penrith. They were on the rack in the first 2 overs, then they added 10 and 15 in the last 2, and in the first 3 balls in this over they've added 8. So they're starting to pull the momentum back towards them, Steve.
Yeah, it's exactly what the doctor ordered. And They look to try and get a boundary here, I think.
This one is exquisitely driven out through cover. It won't reach the fence, but it was really well timed there by Ryan Gibson. And they'll come back and collect 3. Nice piece of running there by this pair. Takes the tally for this over to 11. And Gibson moves to 25 from 14. Kershaw in. This is wide of the off stump, and it would have been magnificently caught. Swung the willow at it, did Weir, and you could see the deviation from the edge and dove across. There did Tim Cummins, but just couldn't hold on to it.
Did well to get to it. Went with 2 hands. Penrith riding their luck.
Quite trumps for at the moment, but you feel they're probably going to come to an end sooner or later. This ball cross-batted down the ground just for the single to end the over. 12 coming from that, so 37 from the last 3 overs. 2 for 41 after 5. Weir is 13 from 8, and Gibson 25 and that from 14.
It's amazing the momentum swings already in this game. There's been 2. A great start from Sydney Uni, and now Penrith with the fight back.
Remarkable to think they were 2 for 4 at that stage, but partnership with 37 in 3 overs at a run rate in excess of 12 has put Penrith back on track, but it just takes one ball to change it. If the Students were to get another wicket here, whether it's of Weir or Gibson, all of a sudden you're 3 for 41, you're well into that middle order. Just pulls that run rate back a little bit. So they'll know that. Well, the Sydney University side. Tim Lay is coming into the attack for the first time today. So Kershaw 3 overs, 1 for 24. Ben Joy 2 overs, 1 for 17. Here is Lay over the wicket. Wide cut, forcefully through cover for 4. Magnificent cricket shot from Cameron Weir, who just laid back and cracked that off the willow for 4 more.
That sounded awesome in the effects microphone. Reverberated around the ground.
We're 17 from just 9. 2 for 45 Penrith. So the pitch after those first few overs was a little bit difficult to get in. Looks like it's playing pretty true now. Lay in short and wide again. This one chopped just past the keeper. Tantalisingly past Cummins for a single. And Weir goes to 18. Wide again. This will be 4 more. Backward a point this time. Short and wide, and Gibson just cashes in on a very short delivery. Struggled with his line and length a little bit in this over Tim Lay. Brings up the 50 as well. 9 coming from the first 3. Gibson to 29.
Yeah, just too wide, too short, and got punished for it. Be interesting to see when Liam Robertson brings on a spinner. Try and change the pace up a bit. It's all been a bit one-paced so far. Just take the pace off the ball and slow it up a bit.
It's a better ball. It's just dropped onto the onside, and a rare dot ball for Sydney University. So 2 balls left in this over. Gibson 29 off 16, facing up here to Tim Lay. Back, and it's going to be a no ball, so this is going to be a free hit. And that's not what they didn't need that one. Another one to the total has to be re-bowled, and a free hit after what was a pretty good ball. A play and a miss there by Ryan Gibson.
Yeah, it was a better line then, but overstepping, it's you just can't do it in these games. It's giving runs away.
Well, you don't want to be doing it in the longer form because it's a ball that needs to be bowled and it's another run that you have to chase down. But in one day and 2020 cricket, it's almost unforgivable, isn't it? So here's the free hit. Gibson facing up to Tim Lee, and he crunches this one down the ground and gets nothing for it. Missed time straight to mid-off, and we're seeing that more and more often. The batters are just so desperate to get a big shot from that free hit that often they won't even find any runs.
It's actually broken his bat, I think.
Yeah, well, he's not even going to wait for the extra ball to be bowled. He's going to get a change of bat straight away. Ryan Gibson.
That might be heading to Kingsgrove Sports to get repaired tomorrow morning.
Taking a bit of time. There's obviously called to the sheds to get a new bat, but
no one's watching.
They haven't been as forthcoming. That's club cricket, park cricket if ever you've seen it. And now we see someone running out with a couple of bats. So maybe they couldn't locate his bag of bats, but regardless, he's coming out now and giving them here to Ryan Gibson. So that's Tom Sargent that's run those bats out, and Ryan Gibson likes to feel the one that he's got in his hand now, and we'll try and re-continue this innings. 29 from 18. He's been in good touch, played some really nice cricket shots. Comes laid wide and cut, but straight to backward point. So a couple of dot balls after that free hit. 10 coming from it, 2 for 51. Gibson 29 from 19. Cameron Weir 18 from 10. And that completes 6 overs and completes the first power play as well.
That was a good finish to that set. 2 dot balls. Let's see if they can build off that. Skipper's come on to have a bowl, see if he can stop the flow of runs.
So that is Liam Robertson with ball in hand. He's going to be bowling right arm over the wicket, so we're on strike. Got a man at deep square leg. He's bowling medium pace with regulation edge down towards third man for just a single. And they're coming back for the second. It's a wayward throw, and Weir gets back comfortably in the end to move to 20. Line and length first up there from Robertson, just shaped away a little bit from the right-hander. All flicked off the pads, and they'll get through for a single. So they've run well between the wickets, Penrith, so far today. I guess it kind of gets lost in 2020 running between the wickets, doesn't it? Because we see all these big shots, the 4s and 6s, that if you can run your 1s and 2s really hard, it's invaluable.
Yeah, definitely. It puts pressure on the field as well.
This one beats them all, ends up, tries to play across the line. Does Gibson, just trying to hook that through mid-wicket, and lucky not to have had the stumps rearranged. Let's have a look at this replay.
Ooh, jagged back nicely.
Off these first 3 balls. Sun just looks like it's disappeared for a little bit behind the clouds, so hopefully not any more inclement weather here from Sydney, as a play and a miss from Gibson outside the off stump. So just starting to pull it back a little bit now, the students. They bowled, Tim Lay bowled well in those last 2 or 3 balls of the last over. Now back-to-back dot balls after 2 and then 1 leg by. Robertson comes in once more. Punched backward a point for at least 1. And they're going to come back for 2. Ryan Gibson continuing his good touch. He goes along to 31.
Been a tidy over this one. Just pegged it back a little bit. This will be the ball. They want to get a dot or a one.
So Gibson faces up. Robertson off his short run up. Down the leg side, there's a stumping appeal, and it's going to be just the wide. So another one under the total, but not the worst idea with Gibson trying to move outside the crease. So 6 now from this over. So they don't want to lose it, the students. Disappointing for them if they were to concede a 4 off this last ball, even bigger. Robertson to Gibson. Gibson just nudges this one on the onside. Good delivery by Robertson, just cramped in for room. 7 coming from that, 6 from the bat. Weir's 20 and Gibson is 32. 7 overs gone, 258. And that run rate is 8.3. Just looking at the radar here, Steve, there is a little bit of, I guess, moderate to heavy rain coming through Marsfield, Mossman area, so hopefully that bypasses us. We're kind of talking in the next kind of 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, the last thing we need is a delay or rain interrupting the matches.
Yeah, a lot of it's just kind of light rain out in Western Sydney, places like Horsley Park and Parramatta Castle Hill getting most of that, and then just that little bit of rain that hopefully doesn't keep heading to the coast, because on the trajectory that it's on, probably would hit where we are at the SCG, but fingers crossed we avoid that. So Devlin Malone, the leg spinner, is going to get a chance to roll his own. The former Sutherland bowler, now with Sydney University, comes in short and cut, not convincingly by Gibson, just picks up the 1 run. This partnership now worth 55, so it's been really good for the Penrith boys. And this ball's just guided, just uses the pace and the width of Malone to guide that down towards third man. They've got 2, and they'll come back for a third. It's going to be close. Not out is the call. It was a lot closer than it perhaps needed to be there. Ryan Gibson really had to get out of second gear to get home for that one. And Weir picks up 3. He goes to 23, 2 for 62.
Good bit of fielding that. In the end, very well run. I think straight away he'd called for the third. But got there in the end.
And he's got a breakthrough. Cleans him up. Gibson goes. A good innings of 33 comes to an end. And Devon Malone, the leg spinner, does the damage for the students. Wicket 3 falling, and it's now 3 for 62, Penrith. Malone has his first, Steve.
It's a strange shot here. He's played across the line. I don't know whether it's kept a little bit low, but let's have a look here.
It's too early on it, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's just a bad shot. Played over top of it, and Malone's pretty happy.
Seemed to really reach for it, didn't he, Ryan Gibson? You watch here, there's not a whole lot of foot movement. He just kind of, played over the top of it, as you mentioned, Steve, and probably in hindsight one of those balls that, maybe he should have just let that one go through to the keeper. So that partnership broken, 58 it was worth. Devon Malone gets the wicket, and it brings Tyron Lydiard out to the middle. We're at the non-strikers then on 23 off just 13. And this ball tucked on the onside. There's a chance here for a throw out. Nice take by Cummins, but throw too high. Well, they're not going to die wondering, Penrith, this afternoon, are they, Steve? Some of these runs have been risky, but still yet to see a run out as Lydiard gets off the mark straight away.
I actually thought he probably had more of a chance at the other end. I think a good throw there might have had him short.
So Malone has got 1 for 5 off these first 4 deliveries. Run rate's still above 8. So the run rate's still pretty healthy, so they don't need to panic at the moment, Penrith. They will panic if they have a chance to, if they give away any more wickets, defender on the offside. This one is an appeal. It could be another one. He is. He's gone. Where goes Devon Malone on fire at the SCG. Wraps him on the pad, and the umpire didn't need to adjudicate for too long. Bang, bang from the leg spinner from Sydney University, and he removes the 2 set batsmen, and all of a sudden, Penrith lose 2 quick wickets and find themselves in a spot of bother, 4 for 63.
I have a feeling he thinks he's got a little tickle on that, and that's why he's disappointed with that. Not sure, we couldn't see it from that angle. But, yep, another swing in momentum. Goes back to the students.
2 wickets in the first 2 overs, then no wickets for effectively 6 overs, with a lot of runs being scored in between, Steve. And now we've seen, in the space of an over, Devon Malone, and again, as we saw in the Sutherland game, spin really benefiting the bowling side.
Yeah, just taking the pace off the ball. I'm not sure whether either team here got here early and watched Sutherland go about their work, but definitely the bit of pace off it. It's the batsmen are finding it hard to play.
Dugald Holloway is coming into the attack with his left arm. So Lydiard's on 1 now. The new batsman is Brent Atherton. Lydiard's going to be on strike though. Let's see what the left arm pace of Holloway can do. Left arm over the wicket, wide of the off stump, flays away. This one does Lydiard, doesn't connect. First ball's actually caught a wide. This ball is lofted out into the deep. It's going to go 1 bounce into the fence for 4. That just breaks the shackles a little bit. Lydiard not taking any time to get settled. A wide one just crunches that over. Extra cover for 4.
Very handy shot. Just threw the bat through it. Straight over the top. This ball slapped out into the deep for a single. So this has been a good start to the over for Penrith. Wide first ball, then a 4 and a 1, so effectively 6 runs from 2 deliveries. Wide of the off stump post. There's a chance here at the non-strikers, and they go at the strikers' end, and a diving stop means that Lydiard's able to get back there. Atherton gets off the mark, but it's almost like tip and run in the backyard at the moment here from Penrith. Yeah, that's a pure case of a batsman wanting to get off naught. Just get it to the field and go. Ball on off stump, well pitched up. That's good delivery by Holloway. Yeah, well bowled. That's where he wants to be. Going through around off stump. Just looking through the bowling card. Holloway into his first over. He's none for 7. Malone 1 over 2 for 5. He's turned the game on its head. Robertson 1 over none for 6. Lay 1 over none for 10. Ben Joy opened 2 overs 1 for 17. And Joe Kershaw also opened 3 overs 1 for 24. Wide cut, almost brilliantly taken, but it'd be a boundary again to Penrith. It's that short ball, you can't afford to drop it short outside the off stump, because every time they have, Penrith are cashed in. Lydiard goes to double figures. Yeah, just too wide again. He probably would have been called wide if he didn't get any bat on it.
So wide for 1-1.4. It's a good over. 11 coming from it. Comes in once more. Push defensively. At the offside, they think about a single, but wisely sent back. So end of the over. Nice one to Penrith after losing a couple of wickets. They pick up 11. They're 4 for 74 after 9, scoring 8.2 and over. Lydiard 10 from 6. And Atherton is 1 from 1.
Yeah, that's a really solid over after losing 2 wickets. And interested to see how they play Malone here.
So 9 overs gone, almost at the halfway mark of this innings. It's back and just nudged onto the offside. And they go through for a very quick single. This is like bordering on suicidal. A lot of these runs, they're getting home, but putting under Sydney Uni under a lot of pressure, which is probably a good thing from Penrith's point of view.
It was a very good piece of fielding, that. A direct hit would have been interesting. Yeah, that's not a good sign. The ground staff have come out with some Hessian.
Pushed onto the onside. Maybe they've looked at the radar like we have and are just getting prepared if there is a downpour, because I think that's been the problem with the weather in Sydney, is it hasn't been sprinkling, it's been absolutely torrential.
I think he's still got the engine running too, which means it's not far away.
Ball nudge. There's another close shy at the stumps, but again they get home. Third single in a row. Atherton picks up 1 to move to 3.
Good running again. What this does is brings the fielder in another step and opens up the opportunity to get past him.
Smart cricket, isn't it?
Yep.
So Lydiard back on strike. He's 11. Atherton on 3. 3 dot balls off this over. Malone skips his way in and beats the outside edge with a really nice delivery. Just left Lydiard there. Short and looking to pull around the corner. That'll be a wide. Just drifting down the leg side. Just looking at the radar, looks like the velocity of that rain, if it does hit, will be a little bit weaker here than it is when it's hitting places like Marsfield and Mosman, but hopefully it just doesn't happen at all. It can be frustrating when you're playing cricket and you lose 30 or 40, particularly in a 2020 game, particularly for Penrith, that the game did get reduced to 16 or 17 overs. They're going to be on the back foot. They go for another single and pick it up easily. So end of the over. Pick up 6 from that one. Lydiard 12, Atherton 4. 4 for 80 after 10.
Yes, that's what we don't want to see tonight, is the final delayed with rain, reduced overs. I don't know what time the lights are meant to turn off here, but probably about 10 o'clock, I'd say. So as long as we get them in before 10 o'clock, we're on the right track.
Robertson continues around the wicket, and again they scamper through for another quick single. This is obviously part of the identity of this Penrith side. It hasn't just been this pair. We saw Ryan Gibson and some of the other top order batters, Cameron Weir, run really well between the wickets, picking up those quick singles. This one slapped out through the offside for just a single. I think about a second to side against it. So one more to Lydiard, who goes to 13.
Well, there was a perfect situation where the fielder was too close. He was looking at stopping the single. A metre either side of him, they get a run. If he was where he was to start with, they wouldn't have got a run.
This one is a dot ball. Atherton drives out to cover. So into the second half of this innings. As Penrith, no doubt, the next few overs looking to put the foot down. Slower ball driven on the up out to cover. No run again. So a couple of dot balls here by the students. Trying to pull this back. Run rate below 8. Punch down the ground, so just another single. So Atherton cashing in this time. That takes him to 6, just the one ball left in this. So been a bit of bowling here from Liam Robertson with his right arm medium pace. None for 9 off 1.5 overs. And just a late ball down the leg side. It's tickled around the corner for a single. So Lydia to retain the strike. He goes to 14 from 11. Atherton is 6 from 8. 11 overs gone. 4 for 84. That run rate 7.6 runs per over.
Better over there. Good lines and only getting 4 singles there. Malone will look to capitalise now and build on that good over from Robertson.
So Malone, first up, nice ball that just deceives Lydiard a little bit as he pokes forward and attempts to defend this one. He's up to the stumps. You can see here plenty of revs on that ball. He's beat the outside edge. Good piece of keeping by Tim Cummins behind the stumps. Malone in. Thrown up, punched out through the offside, bit of a misfield. They'll get through for a single. Lydiard goes to 15. What's the plan of Penrith at the moment? Do you think they're just dinking the ball around a little bit, Steve, keeping wickets intact, trying to get those 5 or 6 singles and over and set themselves up for a bit of a dash in the latter part of the day, as we see all thrown up and punched down the ground?
Yeah, I think so. Sort of, it's a bit like the old 50-50 games where you get that middle period of consolidation and get yourself prepared for the onslaught at the end. So I think...
well, this ball lifted all the way down to the man on the rope who takes it. Great catch. Did really well to keep his feet in bounds. It was right at a deep backward square leg and got underneath that one. Thought initially it was going to go all the way into the stands, but it didn't. I think it might have been Ben Joy down there on the rope that's taken the catch. And just as we thought they were trying to consolidate, look at that. That is not easy to be done. Knowing where the bench rope is, knowing where your body is, that's well done. And Malone's day out at the races continues. He's got 3 for 13. And Penrith just looking like they were consolidating. Lose their 5th. 5 for 86 in the 12th.
Yeah, good bit of outfielding there. In the end made it look easy. And yeah, so again, just at a crucial time, another wicket. And that comes down to the good over from Robertson. And then Malone on the back of it gets success.
This one pitched up, driven back down the ground and fielded comfortably there by Malone. We saw a couple of wickets fall to spin bowling in that first game. We've seen 3 fall here as this ball is tonked out through mid-wicket down towards the deep. Won't be a boundary, but they'll come back for 2. So good shot there by Atherton, who's the more senior of the batsmen out the middle. He goes to 9 from 11. And that will take the score to 88 on the board. 5 wickets down, 8 overs to go. Run rate 7.3 per over. Malone 3 for 15 off 3 overs.
Penrith just have to be careful not to lose another a wicket here. Set themselves up for a big finish. And if they lose one now, you're moving into the bowler territory.
In comes Joy, 2 overs, 1 for 17. He's coming right arm around the wicket, and this ball might be caught behind. They were confident, the students. Seem adamant that it's a breakthrough, but umpire is unmoved, and not out is the decision.
I think he might have hit the ground with his bat. I'm not sure. But Sydney Uni were very confident.
It's the first ball that Hodges was facing as well, so steep initiation for him. Comes Joy once more. This one he gets out of the middle, drives onto the offside, and they get through for a single. So Hodges gets off the mark on his second delivery. 5 for 89. It just seems like, Steve, batting is difficult. When you get in, if you can get yourself in, you can get your eye in, it obviously becomes a lot easier. We saw the way Steve Smith batted for Sutherland, and we've seen a couple of the innings here, particularly Ryan Gibson at the top of the order for Penrith. As it's just another drop and run here, and Ben Joy tries to show his soccer skills to no avail. Another run, but yeah, we saw St George get 112. Sutherland chase it down with probably about two and a bit overs to go, and here Penrith, who started poorly, positive, then came back in the game, probably looking like 130, 135 might be what they're aiming for, particularly with 5 wickets down.
Yeah, that'll be the big thing. If they go another 3 overs without losing a wicket, it gives them a chance to set up a big total.
Joy in, Yorker on leg stump, dug out, there's a shot, the stumps. He gets home in the end. Good piece of fielding though, good cricket all round, as Hodges picks up his second run.
Has been a feature of the Penrith innings, the running between wickets. Testing the university fielders out.
Particularly if the pitch is hard to score off, Steve, if you can pick up those singles, it can add another 15 or 20 runs, which is invaluable to your total. Joy jams this one in on leg stump and dug out by Atherton. So, second dot ball of this over.
Well bowled.
He's bowled well today, Ben Joy. To his third over, figures of 1 for 20. That run rate that was about 8.5 and over is at risk of dropping under 7. Joy in, frees the arms, hammers this one out through extra cover for just the single. Atherton will retain the strike. He goes to 11, Hodges 2. 4 singles from that one. 5 for 92 after 13 overs. Who knows what they're singing over there, Steve? They've been loud and proud for the good part of 13 overs, and why not? Sydney University playing well. Devlin Malone in. This one driven down the ground to long off by Atherton for 1.
Whatever it wasn't in tune.
Few field adjustments here for Devlin Malone into his last over. He has 3 for 16. Thrown up, and he drives wildly. This one outside the old stump, and it's a play and a miss. One just eased down the ground there for Hodges, who's found it a little bit difficult out here in the middle. Lone in once more, just dabs this one outside the off stump down to short third man. They pick up another run. They're Australian singles at the moment, Penrith. Sydney University not giving them anything. One time they have gone for the big shot. It's led to a breakthrough. Back and cutting outside the off stump at this one. Another play and a miss. So just the one ball left in this over, and this has been a beautiful spell of leg spin bowling by Devlin Malone. Thrown up and driven, but he won't get any runs for that. What an end to a magnificent spell. 4 overs, no maidens, 3 for 18, only 3 runs coming from that. And the runs are drying up here for Penrith. 14 overs gone, 5 for 95, they're on at 6.8. Atherton 13 from 16, and Hodges 3 from 7.
Yeah, good spell of bowling that. Again, spinners dominating here today. And see if Joy can do something here.
So Joy continuing into his final over. This ball jammed out on the offside. They take a shot at the stumps. It would have been gone for all money. But the throw is wide, and Atherton again survives. Goes to 14, 5 for 96.
Yeah, he was long gone if that hit then.
So 5.5 overs remaining. The sun just starts to shine back at the SCG, which is good signs. Yorker dug out through mid-wicket for 1 run. You'd think after this over, that's probably go time for Penrith if they want to try and get a really formidable total. This ball's clipped away off leg stump, but again, only a single is all Atherton can get. He struck that one pretty well. So 3 singles to start this over. Joy in around the wicket, punched to square the wicket. There's a huge mix-up. This will be a run out, and there's the wicket. So Hodges departs for 4. The quick running and quick singles have benefited Penrith probably an extra 15 or 20 runs. Didn't work there, and that'll be the end of Hodges. He departs for 4. It's 6 for 98.
Yeah, they've been living dangerously, but that one, that was just suicidal. Skipper smashes the stumps. It's probably not the time to lose a wicket. I'm talking about needing to consolidate to get the big finish, but we're getting down to the number 8 batsman. He's down there for a reason, so it'll be up to Atherton to score the bulk of these runs for the rest of the innings. I think he'll have to stay in for the majority to give Penrith a decent total to defend.
Well, when we were off the mic earlier, Steve, watching the Sutherland innings, we thought St George were probably 15 or 20 runs shy of making a really competitive score. So 130, maybe 125 at a stretch is probably where you want to be, and anything above that is bonus. At the moment, they're 98, so it could go either 2 ways. They swing the willow and they get an extra 40 or 45 in these next 5 overs, or the 4 wickets could fall relatively quickly. Joy comes over the wicket. Ball clipped back and almost magnificently caught in his follow-through. And he's creating things here.
The replay will be interesting here to see whether he... Oh, yeah.
Hit into his pad, I think, or hit into his foot.
Yeah, definitely. But no Joy.
You just had to slide one of those in there, didn't you, mate? He's only got 1 ball left in his spell as well, so I can't really blame you. This ball dug out of the offside by Collins for a single. And that will end Joy's spell. 15 overs, 6 for 99. He finishes with 1 for 25 from 4. So a good spell of bowling by his the right arm quick. Collins is 1 off 2. Atherton 15 from 18. And just the 5 overs left here at the SCG in the Penrith innings.
Yeah, somewhere around 130, I think. We'll give him something to defend. Got Robertson coming on again. Just take the pace off the ball.
He's got 2 overs, none for 10, so he's been very economical. This ball on leg stump, clipped away, and there's a strike at the stumps, and he might have been in trouble. Atherton there, if that one had hit the stumps. There's probably been about 15 or 20 of those today. So Collins 1 off 3. Dot balls are like gold at the moment for Sydney University, and there's another one here. So back-to-back dot balls to start this over. This one clipped off the pads again, straight to the man at mid-wicket. So this is a really good over for the students. And Robertson just, ball is not coming onto the bat, bowling in really good areas. It's that short of a length. This ball is clipped and he'll get it past the man at short fine legs. They've got at least 2. Maybe a 3. No, they're not going to risk that. They'll pick up 2, which will take them past 100. 6 for 101, and Collins moves to 3.
A smart bit of fielding there. Nice slide and pick up. Reduced it to only 2. Another good over from Robertson so far.
This ball clipped onto the offside. They think about a single, but they won't get any. So 5 deliveries and just 2 runs. It's almost unheard of in this format, but Robertson, the captain of these right arm seamers, doing a magnificent job. It's the last ball there over Collins. He faces up, he's struck on the pad. There's a bit of a mix-up. There's a throw at the non-strikers end, and it just misses as well. The old underarm technique. They got in each other's way a little bit there, the Sydney University fielders, but end of a very good over regardless. Only 3 runs from it. That goes down as a leg bye. Robertson has none for 12 from 3. And 3 runs in total from the over. So 4 overs remaining. Penrith 6 for 102. Collins 3. Again retains the strike. He's not the man you want on strike either. No disrespect to him, but he's struggling to hit the ball, and he's a lower order batsman. You want Atherton is the man you want to be facing the chunk of these final 24 balls.
Yeah, most definitely. I look to get a single here to get Atherton on strike.
So Tim Lake comes back into the attack. He's got 1 over, figures of none for 10. Comes over the wicket. This ball hit in the air and dropped. That backward point probably should have done better. It came quick, but got both hands to it. Single there as Collins moves to 4.
He hit that one well enough, but great effort. Just couldn't keep hold of it.
Wide of the off stump. This will be a wide. Another one added to the total. Just searching for that wide kind of Yorker length there, Steve, that we see in the IPL and the BBL a fair bit, but just got his line a little bit wrong there.
He's got a little bit of a round arm sort of action as well, which keeps the trajectory low, especially with those Yorkers.
One, then the leg side clipped, and it's actually York the guy. That short fine leg, so they'll get at least 2 off this one. I believe it might have even been a bit of a chance for a catch initially, I thought.
I have the same feeling. I think this goes down as a chance. Yep.
I think that's pretty. I thought it got to him on the half volley, but it's actually got to him probably maybe 50 or 60 centimetres off the ground. But a couple of chances have been shelved in this over by Sydney University. Lay around the wicket. This ball cross-batted and almost brilliantly taken one-handed, so another drop catch. That one was a lot more difficult, and that would have rivaled Austin Wars for catch of the day, Steve. And Atherton, living dangerously, picks up a run.
Yeah, it was a great diving effort. Ooh. He's almost caught that behind him.
Lay back over the wicket and cleans him up. Crashes into the middle stump. You miss, I hit. Collins departs for 4. Tim Lay gets his first. And with only 20 deliveries remaining, Penrith slump to 7 for 107 here at the SCG.
Yeah, good length. Just ducked in a little bit late. And just too big a gap between bat and pad there. Collins is on his way.
Still 2 balls left in this over. Got 5 from it and a wicket. As the sun starts to shine a bit more brightly here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Field is bathed in sunshine after the sun just disappeared for probably 25 or 30 minutes behind the clouds. Clipped off the pads out to deep mid-wicket, but it's hit really well there by Smith. They only get a single, but it will mean that Atherton will be on strike for the last ball of the over. Last ball of the over, Lay around the wicket. He just frees the arms, just knocks that one into the offside and retain the strike. Smart cricket there from Atherton. He is the key for Penrith now. He moves to 19. Smith, the new batsman, is 1. 3 overs remaining, 7 for 109.
And just looking at that last shot, I think Atherton knows that he's got to go now. Try and get some boundaries.
Yeah, with only 18 balls to go, I think you may as well kind of try and set yourselves a target, because I think dinking around and getting 120, 125 probably not going to be enough. I think 130, probably 135 the par. If they were to have a big over, which we've seen them do a few times during this innings, if they were to pick up 14 or 15 off an over, all of a sudden they put themselves maybe not back in the driver's seat, but a massive confidence boost. Holloway in as this ball slugged down towards fine leg. It's got some momentum on it. It's going to be pulled back just inside the rope, and they'll come back for 3, but 3 very valuable runs regardless. Atherton threw the kitchen sink at it. He goes now to a runner ball 22. 7 for 112.
Yeah, a bit of a dirty slog. French cut down to fine leg.
Tail ender's cover drive, isn't it? Is that what they say? He's not a tail end, obviously. He's a middle order batsman, but sure won't be minding picking up the 3 runs. So the run rate 6.5. Scores 112. So Gibson 33 and Weir 23. The only ones to have really got going as Smith chops this one just in front of point for a run. But apart from that, not much really. Johnny Di Bartolo caught Joy, bowled Kershaw for 1. Brent Williams caught Cummins, bowled Joy for 1. Ryan Gibson stumped Cummins off the bowling of Malone for 33. Cameron Weir, LBW Malone for 23. Tyron Lydiard was caught Joy, bowled Malone for 15. Luke Hodges, the last man out. Oh, sorry, second last man out, run at Robertson for 4. And Mock Collins bowled Lee for 4. This is wide, it's chopped backward a point. This is into a little bit of space out there in the deep, and Atherton will pick up 2 more. So this is firming as a big over here for Penrith. 3 balls gone, already 6 runs have come from it. Comes once more, this ball just pushed defensively out onto the offside by Atherton, just using the pace of Holloway there. Who's been the Most expensive of the bowlers. Lee's 2 have gone for 17 at 8.5 and over. Joe Kershaw's 3 have gone for 24 at 8 and over. And Holloway's still 2 balls remaining, have conceded 18. So they've liked the look. Probably the fact he's a bit of a quicker bowler, comes onto the bat a little bit quicker. Over the wicket, clipped off the pads. They'll get through for another single. Smith this time.
Interesting to see whether Atherton just goes for a single here or tries to get a boundary in this last ball.
Comes Holloway, tries to go all out and nothing, and doesn't get anything from it. A thick inside edge, almost ended up being a run out, and he scampered home. So end of the over. Good one for Penrith. Scored more than what their run rate is. 7 for 117. 2 overs to go. Smith will be on strike. He's on 2 off 3. And Atherton is on 25 from 25 balls.
Robertson coming on to bowl his last over. 3 overs for 12 so far.
He's been very good, hasn't he? The 3 overs of seam bowling that he's put forward here this afternoon. So they're stumped. Ran down the crease at him and just kind of stumbled outside the popping crease, really. A bit of a quicker delivery, and Robertson gets his first, and that's not really what Penrith would have wanted. Would have loved Smith to get up the other end and get Atherton on strike, but it's funny, he kind of missed the ball and he kind of kept moving outside the crease, but smart piece of work by Cummins. He gets his second stumping and his 3rd dismissal. 8 for 117, 11 balls left in this innings.
Yeah, just tried to get something on it and then balance. Just saw him come forward and good bit of keeping there. Sees him on his way. But the new man, Weir, has to get a single here. Get Atherton on strike.
Yeah, you wonder what the process will be here for Atherton if he does get on strike, whether he tries to milk the strike in a sense of trying to pick up the 2s and not necessarily hitting singles, or whether he just tries to go berserk and maybe lift a couple into the crowd and try and lift this total, because 140 would be, I wouldn't say it'd be a match-winning total, but it'd be a pretty tricky chase to run down, considering this ball's been holding up in the pitch a little bit. It's a little bit slow with those bowlers that aren't coming onto the bat. It can be quite difficult. But Robertson starts off for the wicket. He comes around the wicket here to Weir. Weir driving on the up, gets this one through cover and gets off strike right away, just like Steve Green was saying. 8 for 118.
Yeah, smart play. Get the in batsman on strike. See what he can do here.
Comes in, he frees the arms and he could be stumped. He's gone. 2 stumpings in the same over. That is remarkable keeping from Cummins, and a great delivery by Robertson to get rid of Atherton for 25. So the big gun goes, and Penrith might not last the 20 overs. Had to free the arms and was outside the crease. So Cummins has 3 stumpings and a catch in this game, and Penrith in all sorts of drama now. 9 for 118 with still 9 deliveries left in the innings.
Yeah, just yorked himself there. There's really no need to charge there, and just went under it. And another good bit of keeping. And, I think anything around 130 now, Penrith would take.
Well, they're only 6 runs better off than what St George did, so we thought that St George's score in that first game was well below par, but maybe 120 kind of is the par score at this week. We'll have to find out when Sydney University bat, but regardless, I'm sure Penrith would love this final pair of Withers and Weir to try and last a little bit this last over. This ball defended at the offside. There's an appeal for LBW. Robertson, who's obviously pretty keen, runs all the way down to almost chat with Tim Cummins, the wicketkeeper. Let's see if it has hit the pad. I thought it was bat first, Steve. That was my first impression.
Yeah, I think they might have thought that there was a bit of pad. Ooh. I don't know.
Not a bad shout, really, is it?
No. Anyway, he's still there. Let's see if he can do something.
2 balls left in the 19th. Robertson in. This ball punched down the ground. They've got at least 1. They might come back for 2. That's exactly what they're going to do. It's a good throw. And it would have been in all sorts. They decided to opt against the second run. And they settled for the single. And it almost ended up being catastrophe anyway. 9 for 119. Withers gets off the mark. He's on 1. Last ball of Liam Robertson's spell, the captain. He has 2 for 14 on leg stump, clipped onto the onside, and they'll pick up a single. But regardless, it's a really good spell of bowling. Him and Malone have really turned the game on its head. He's bowled 4 overs, 2 for 15, and Malone finished with 3 for 18 from his 4. So the 3 runs coming from that. 9 for 121 over to go. Weir's 2 off 2. He's on strike, and Withers is 1 from 2.
Yeah, very well bowled. Good spell. As we see the ground staff reverse the little golf cart back. So it looks like we've dodged the rain for now.
Great sign for us, Steve.
Yes.
So Kershaw's going to bowl the last over. He has 3 overs, figures of 1 for 24. A little bit expensive in his 3rd over, but the first 2 he was in pretty good touch. He comes in around the wicket. This ball cut backward a point. They've got 1, and they're going to come back for a second. This could be a bit of a tight squeeze, but the throw just a little bit wayward, and they get back for 2. So we're playing a pretty handy knock here. He's scored 4 off 3. He picks up 2 more runs there to take the score to 9 for 122.
Good running. Good running. That's what they need now. At least a runner ball.
They'll want to survive these full 5 deliveries, won't they? The Penrith boys. This ball on the middle stump, tucked away. Takes the pace off it a little bit. They might think about a second. No. Herring in from the deep there. Was Holloway. Keeps it to a single, but regardless, picks up another run. 3 runs off these first 2 deliveries. 9 for 123. Comes wide of the off stump, punched, square the wicket out through deep point, just the run, but it's well played by Withers. Number 11 coming out and under all sorts of pressure, has got 2 runs from 3 balls and keeping his number 10 batsman Trent Weir on strike, who's on 5. He'll face up here, 3 balls remaining. Comes around the wicket, tucked off the hip. He'll pick up the single out to mid-wicket. So 2 balls remaining. So 2-1-1-1 is how this over has looked so far. Weir's on 6. Withers back on strike. 9 for 125.
I'd love a boundary right about now, I reckon.
That'd be huge, wouldn't it? That would really just kind of put the icing on the cake here for Penrith. Question is 125 enough? This ball he slaps down the ground as Withers, and he'll pick up a single. And that means that Trent Weir will be on strike for the final ball of the over. Certainly not the worst over by your number 10 and 11. 6 runs coming from it.
No, they've done well. Love to eke out a boundary here. Just an edge past the keeper or something like that.
Well, 4 gets them to an even 130, which is 6.5 and over. Which can be a bit of a challenging run rate in these conditions. Last ball of the innings. He comes, he goes across the line, and it's not going to be called a wide because he moved off his normal batting stance, and it ends with a dot ball. So great way to finish there from Kershaw. He finishes 1 for 30 from 4 and Penrith finished their 20 overs at 9 for 126. We're unbeaten on 6 off 6. Withers unbeaten on 3 off 4. So they started poorly, Penrith. They were 2 for 4 after 2 overs. They fought back a little bit on the back of Ryan Gibson's 33, which was the top score. But despite a few players getting going, no one really able to kind of get stuck into that Sydney University bowling attack, and they finished with 9 for 126, with Gibson top scoring with 33, Brent Atherton 25, and Cameron Weir making 23. Best of the bowlers, Devlin Malone, brilliant, 4 overs, 3 for 18 with his leg spin. Liam Robertson's right arm seamers, very effective as well, 4 overs, 2 for 15. We're going to take a short break here on the Cricket New South Wales live stream, as we have about a 5 or 6 minute break until the Sydney University team makes their way out to the middle. They need 126 to book themselves, or 127, sorry, to book themselves a spot in the final against Sutherland at 6:30. David Gavin and co will be rejoining you in around 5 minutes.
And welcome back to the SCG, where it will be Penrith to try and defend a total of 126. Sydney University in this Thunder Conference final against the Panthers. They'll need 127 for victory after they restricted the Penrith side to 9 for 126 from their 20 overs. A good bowling effort by Sydney University after they lost 2 quick wickets early on. Penrith, they were 2 for 4 in the second over. Then they got off to a bit of a flyer courtesy of Ryan Gibson and Cameron Weir, who put on 33 and 23 respectively. But it was Devlin Malone that really did peg Penrith back and pick out a couple of good key wickets for Penrith, for Sydney University rather. And for his summation of the first part of this game, David McDonald, how would you sum up things in the first innings?
Well, that was quite a topsy-turvy innings, that one, wasn't it? Certainly 2 early wickets, and then some impressive batting there from Penrith at the top of the order. Gibson and Weir. Also Atherton, who batted almost towards the end of the innings, but a comprehensive bowling performance from Sydney University after in that overs 6 to 20 period. Bowled very tightly, and we've also got to give credit, 3 stumpings and a catch to Tim Cummins behind the stumps. Some quality keeping from him. But have Penrith got enough? I think they might be about 10 or 15 short, to be honest.
It's another lowish total here at the SCG after St George were restricted to 112 in the Sixers conference final. But to get things underway, it's Withers for Penrith over the wicket from the Paddington end, and that is caught. First ball. So Penrith have picked up a wicket with the very first ball, and it's opener Hayden Kerr, who was in excellent form heading into this final, and he has just scooped one straight to mid-wicket. And the first wicket falls on the very first ball of the 20 overs, and Sydney University are in early trouble at 1 for none.
Wow, what a wicket for so many reasons. Again, as you mentioned, he's been in fantastic form this competition. But Penrith with the breakthrough, it was almost a slightly lazy shot there. He, again, didn't quite work it hard enough. And a dream start for the Panthers.
What a start for Penrith. Sydney University, after they restricted the Panthers to 126, they've lost a wicket on the very first ball of the chase. As we just see a replay, he just simply scooped it straight to mid-wicket, Hayden Kerr. He was confident heading into this clash. And he spoke on Thursday. Lovely young man. Bright future ahead, but unfortunately a brutal blow for Sydney University in this run chase. Of course, Penrith seeking to make their second consecutive Kingsgrove Sports T20 Cup final. And Withers with the perfect start for Penrith. In he comes to Craze over the wicket, and Craze is on the front foot and letting that ball go. So a wicket and a dot to start for the students.
Good line there to the left-hander. Vital they capitalise on this start, Penrith. It's only 2 balls in, but if they can jag a second one, it's really going to buoy their confidence.
So the perfect start for the Panthers. Chris Withers with the wicket. Right arm seamer from the Paddington end. In he comes on the runway again into Craze on the back foot, trying to work through point, but he can't get it by the fielder. So Penrith are up and about now.
Got a strong lineup of spinners too, Penrith. So it'll be interesting to see how they're used today.
2 men in the deep for the power play, the first over of the power play for Penrith. A man at deep square leg and also deep third man more, deep backward point on the fence there, just in front of the Barongal. And Craze tries to go down the ground, but again he's scooped up in the air and he's caught it mid-off. So 2 wickets in the first over for Penrith, and they've made the ideal start, Sydney University. They're 2 for none.
Well, 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 what a funny old game this cricket is, isn't it, Dave? 2 for naught. Again, not quite there. Scoops it straight in the air, an easy catch. And 1 for none was a dream start. 2 for none. Wake me up. And it sounds like the boys on the party bus are just getting into voice there. The top deck of the members stand, creating a great atmosphere this afternoon, both sets of fans.
Well, they needed early wickets, Penrith, after a lowish total, as we mentioned earlier in this second innings of this T20 final of the Thunder Conference. But to get 2 wickets for none in the first 4 balls, well, that's what dreams are made of, as you mentioned, David. And now Walker, who's been at the other end just watching all of this unfold, he now needs to face his first ball because the batsman did cross, and Chris Withers to continue. In he comes to Walker on the back foot, trying to work that fine, and he gets it away. Whether it's off the bat or the thigh guard, I'm not too sure, but it's cleaned up by the fielder down there, and they'll pick up 2 nevertheless. So first runs for Sydney University, but not off the bat, leg byes. So a frantic start here, David.
Been such a good, it's only half a day into this full day of entertainment, Dave, and we've seen plenty already, and they haven't let us down in this game so far. The first couple of overs of each innings, plenty on offer.
So Withers with the last ball of this first over, 2 for 2, and it's defended by Nick Larkin. Pardon me, Walker. Nick Larkin at the non-strikers end, so Walker negates that last delivery, and what an over for Penrith. Chris Withers picks up 2 wickets, and he picked up a wicket with the very first ball of this run chase for Sydney University, and it was the key wicket, the vital wicket of Hayden Kerr, who has been in terrific form leading into this final. He was the second leading run scorer behind David Warner for Randwick Petersham, and he was dismissed first ball, scooping one to mid-wicket, and then 2 balls later, Nick Craze followed. And there's a replay of the Craze wicket, the dismissal, where he tried to go down the ground, and again, he just scooped it up. Didn't time it at all, and it was an easy catch for mid-off, and it looks as though Penrith will be opening with some spin from the Randwick end for this second over of the run chase.
Yes, there was a hint of that. Brent Williams will come on, and what a big wicket this one could be if he could snare Larkin in wonderful form.
Yes. Blues opening batsman Nick Larkin on the back foot to the first delivery from Brent Williams, and he's defending out the offside. Of course, he will feature Larkin for the Melbourne Stars during the Big Bash League, which starts in just under a week's time. Williams into Larkin, and Larkin punching straight back to Williams in his return. So Williams not wasting any time getting through this over. In he comes again. Over the wicket to Larkin. Short of a length on the back foot, and Larkin punching. So just consolidating at this point for his first few deliveries, Nick Larkin. We're into the second over, and he comes again. Williams on the back foot, and Larkin, carbon copy of the last few deliveries, he defends. 2 for 2, Sydney University. They're in some trouble. Chasing 127 to win. Williams into Larkin on the back foot and punching. Forward of point. Can't beat the field. This is a very tidy start from Brent Williams. 5 dots to start his spell. And his first over of this match. Throws this one up. It's driven down the ground by Larkin. Fielded by Long On. 1 from the over. Excellent start by Williams. The all-rounder. None for 1. 2 for 3. Sydney University. If you're just tuning in, they're chasing 127 to win after Penrith posted 9 for 126 from their 20 overs. And they were in a similar situation early on in their particular innings, 2 for 4 after 2 overs.
And then got off to a bit of a flyer after that, so it'll be interesting to see whether they can do something similar again. A lot's going to ride on Nick Larkin's shoulders here.
And it will be Withers to continue from the Paddington end. He has the 2 wickets to fall for Sydney University. Driven down the ground towards mid-on, and a quick single to Larkin. Moves him to 2. So it's all happening here at the SCG, to borrow a famous line from a famous commentator. 2 men out still for the power play. We're into the third over of that power play. Of course, the first 6 overs The fielding side are restricted to 2 men out. Outside the fielding circle, Withers. This time to Walker on the front foot and driving square of the wicket. Out through point. Penrith fielders give chase. It's the longest boundary out there towards the Bill O'Reilly stand, and they'll pick up 3. So Walker is away now. After 2-leg buys from the previous Withers over. Walker is 3 from 3. 2 for 7.
Good news too that rain that we thought, we had the groundsman in Penrith's innings getting ready to bring the covers out. Luckily they've put them back away now, so good signs. We'll get through this innings without a problem. Withers
continuing over the wicket into Larkin on the back foot, trying to nurse that onto the onside, and he can't quite get it away for that quick single that he was probably after. 4 runs off the first 3 balls of this second over for Withers.
It's just important for Sydney Uni to reconsolidate here, even if they have to have 2 light overs. It's wickets in hand that are the key, and particularly this one.
Perfect start for Penrith. Another wicket here would be key. In comes Withers to Larkin on the front foot, driving. As David mentioned earlier, doesn't get past the fielder on that occasion. Larkin's been in superb form for New South Wales. 2 centuries in the first 6 matches of the Sheffield Shield, including his highest first-class score of 175 not out against Queensland at Manuka Oval. And last round, just around about a week ago here at this very ground, he made 109 against South Australia. Shared another mammoth stand with Daniel Hughes. Withers past the umpire, over the wicket to Larkin, driving wide of mid-off, and he beats the field that time. He'll pick up at least a couple. They'll come back for a 3rd, and they'll get home comfortably. So 7 runs off the over. Larkin moves to 5.
And again, the 7 runs without having to force it either. A couple of genuine cricket shots there. There's going to be a change in the field, maybe an extra cover coming in here.
So Penrith captain Ryan Smith just making a few adjustments here. He knows it's vital that Penrith break this partnership as early as possible, especially with the exemplary Nick Larkin at the crease. Withers in again to Walker. He's cutting. Gets a thick outside edge and it flies away through where first slip would be, down towards the 3rd man boundary, and that's the first boundary of the innings for Sydney University. And an expensive over for Penrith, but a good one for the students. It conceded 11 runs, and 11 runs to the total for Sydney University. They're 2 for 14.
Yes, it doesn't say how in the book, it just says 4 runs, and they'll take them any way they can get them this afternoon, Sydney University. Currently needs 6.6 and over, 113 from 102 as we see second over in a row from Williams coming up.
So Walker at 7 now. Better than a runner ball. Williams to Larkin on the back foot, cutting hard. It's almost a half a back foot drive, half a cut shot where he opened the face of the blade there, but he couldn't beat the field. Williams in again to Larkin, short of a length, and Larkin's advancing, trying to whip that down the ground past mid-on. He can't beat the man. So it's important that Sydney University keep this scoreboard ticking over. Short of a length, Larkin slashing outside off stump. Flamboyant cut shot where he doesn't connect. Good keeping there by Tyron Lydiard behind the stumps. Lydiard recently captained the Sydney Thunder Indigenous male side. Series of 3 matches down in Hobart that the Sydney Thunder Indigenous side played, and this one's tried to whip. Larkin has tried to whip that one down towards fine leg, but didn't quite get it away.
Quite quick between the wickets too, wasn't he, Lydiard?
So was Brent Williams in terms of getting through this over, as that one's hit straight back to Williams in his return as Larkin tries to beat the bowler down the ground. 5 dots. Williams into Larkin, again trying to work down the ground. Another dot. Just seemed to collect the pad on that occasion. That's a maiden. And they're like gold in T20 cricket, maidens. And Brent Williams has one of them. He has the excellent figures of 2 overs, 1 maiden, none for 1. And he has just restricted a first-class player of some note, Nick Larkin, to 6 dots on the trot.
Phenomenal over there from Williams. It's been a great start from him in his 2 overs. Not only has he got through his overs quick, he's given absolutely nothing away, and full respect played towards him.
Withers continues, 2 for 11 so far, full and on off stump, and it's defended by Walker out to the offside.
7.1 and over required at the moment for Sydney University. I'll be comfortable with that. They wouldn't want to let it get over 8, but that's certainly manageable at this stage.
Sets up a tantalising contest, doesn't it, in terms of the back end of this run chase. As I mentioned, Penrith seeking to make their 2nd consecutive Kingsgrove Sports T20 Cup final. In comes Withers to Walker on the front foot and trying to work that on the offside for a quick single. And he can't find the gap and maybe hit it a little bit too hard. So the man at cover coming around. So Sydney University 2 for 14. If you're just tuning into our coverage via our Facebook and Twitter channels or the Cricket New South Wales website, Penrith posted 9 for 126 from its 20 overs, and Sydney University need 127 to win. Withers into Walker. He's given that everything. That's a powerful cover drive through the infield. Should pick up 3, and he does. And he'll move the score to 17. So now 110 required, and we're still in the early stages of this run chase.
17 off 4.3. They'll be very happy with this Penrith. Still another 9 balls left of the power play. You'd imagine Williams will back up from the other end again.
Plenty of support for both of these sides in the members' stand. They've both got their supporter bases and fan clubs. In comes Withers to Larkin, and he's playing and missing it, that one. That seemed to move off the pitch and seam away.
Yes, that's some lovely leg cut there. Just held up a little bit as well, but wonderful delivery to Larkin.
He's bowling terrifically well, isn't he, Chris Withers? 2 for 14 so far, so he's been expensive, but he picked up those 2 key wickets in the first over. In comes Withers to Larkin. This is full and outside off stump, and this may reach the boundary rope. It certainly will.
And some more bad news, David, for Penrith. It's a no ball.
So 5 runs off that last delivery. No ball, and Larkin dispatches it to the fence out in front of the Bill O'Reilly stand with a superb cover drive. Was given plenty of width, and he freed the arms and hit straight through the line. So 8 runs so far conceded in this over.
You can see he's gutted there, Withers.
Of course, a free hit for Nick Larkin with this next delivery, with Withers overstepping with his last delivery that was dispatched to the fence. In comes Withers to Larkin, and he cleared that front leg and smacked it down the ground, but it was fielded by mid-off.
It's funny, that's 2 free hits for the day, both for naught.
So Larkin misses out. But the students haven't missed out this over. 8 runs from it, 2 for 22. 105 to win. Withers continuing over the wicket to Larkin. Larkin on the back foot, trying to work that into the gap on the onside, just forward of mid-wicket. And he can't quite achieve his aim, and remains at what will be the non-striker's end, because that is the end of the over. And Sydney University are 2 for 22 after 5 overs, and there's plenty of activity at the top of the members, with the Penrith and Sydney University fan clubs Plenty of noise and banter and encouragement for both of their respective sides throughout this fixture so far. Late on a Sunday afternoon here in Sydney. Williams to continue from the Randwick end. Down the wicket comes Walker. And Yorks himself in the end and he couldn't get it away. So another dot for Williams. 7 on the trot. Williams races through his overs. Short of a length into Walker, and Walker working out through square leg. And he'll pick up a single.
Really impressive stuff from Williams. Really keeping Sydney Uni in check here.
Very handy overs here by Williams, and he comes this time to Larkin on the back foot and really trying to whip that hard down the ground, but it's fielded by mid-on. So a dot, a 1 and a dot. Williams in again. In he comes to Larkin on the back foot, pulling. Out through square leg. Should pick up 2. And he will. So 3 runs off the over. Both Larkin and Walker are on 11. Walker 11 off 9. Larkin 11 off 22. And Larkin this time trying to punch down the ground and can't beat mid-on. Williams 2.5 overs and that's cut backward of point and that'll be 4. Right in front of the ladies stand. Great shot there by Nick Larkin, showing his class. Freed the arms and got the cut shot away, beat the field, and he moves to 15.
Beautiful cricket there. Gave himself plenty of room without making any risks whatsoever. Found the gap. And a little bit of a danger sign for Penrith, because the longer he stays in, again with the vein of form that he is in, he's going to be a danger man for Sydney University. Looks like we're going to see a change in the bowling.
And it'll be Michael Collins into the attack from the Paddington end, replacing Chris Withers. And now the key wicket. Well, they're both key wickets, but particularly Nick Larkin, as I mentioned earlier. He signed on with the Melbourne Stars for the upcoming KFC Big Bash League. He's currently 15 not out for his Sydney University club. And Walker will be on strike though. He's 11 not out. Nick Walker to take strike to Collins. His first over from the Paddington end. In he comes over the wicket, short, outside off stump. Walker tried to cut, couldn't get it away. And that was the end of the power play too, David, in that last over.
Indeed, so looking at the field at the moment, we've got 5 out. With the third man to cover points. Looks like a square leg, mid-on, and one at fine leg.
Collins to Walker. That squared him up a touch, but he's going to get a quick single for it. Well played, soft hands, out into the onside. Moves to 12. So first run conceded by Collins. It's 2 for 30. 97 to win for Sydney University from 82 balls. We'll keep you up to date with that required run rate and balls to runs ratio. So Collins this time to Larkin. Batting superbly. In he comes on the runway. Into Larkin. Throws the arms at that. Well wide of off stump. Unfortunately, he doesn't get any bat on it because it was taken well by Tyron Lydiard behind the stumps. But nevertheless, if he had have got some bat on it, I think it would have flown away down towards that third man boundary, David.
No question whatsoever. In the end, he's pretty lucky to get away with that one. Plenty of open space down there too.
So I'm joined by David McDonald from a live 90.5 FM. Collins into Larkin. This is down the onside and it's a wide. So he strays in line and length there a little bit, does Collins. It was full enough for Larkin to get away, but a little bit too wide and down the leg side, and it's a wide in this format. So 2 runs conceded in this over. the 7th of the run chase. Collins to Larkin. This is better. Short of a length outside off stump, and it's cut away by Larkin. Forward of point. He'll pick up a single. Moves to 16. It's 2 for 32.
Again, this is almost a similar position to what Penrith were in. 2 down, just recovering, rebuilding a partnership.
This pair have now put on 30. So in comes Collins again, continuing over the wicket to Walker. He just dabs that down towards third man and he'll pick up a single. And he moves to 13 from 12. So this pair just consolidating as well as keeping that scoreboard ticking over as well, which is the key in this shorter format. So this is the Thunder Conference final of the Kingsgrove Sports T20 Cup in the McDonald's New South Wales Premier Cricket Competition. Sydney University 2 for 33. Sutherland, earlier in the day, they took out the Sixers Conference final against St George. Collins into Larkin, gave himself plenty of room and has whipped that all the way for 6 down towards the square leg boundary. Well, didn't he do that with ease? He just picked that up off his toes. We think it's 6, but no, it's ruled 4. It looked to have carried.
Well, I'm not sure about that. We'll have a look at that on the replay and see if we can pick it up. It's hard to judge there. Let's have a second look.
So from the side on angle, and it was short of a length, and Larkin picked it up, went with it, and has it cleared the boundary rope? Probably not quite. It's a matter of millimetres in it.
It's probably a good decision in the end. Even after 3 goes on the replay, we still couldn't work that out, but it just fell short.
So 8 runs off the over. Thought that was a lot fuller than it was at first glance, but short of a length delivery, and Larkin went with it and flicked it up and over square leg. And it nearly went all the way for 6, just out in front of the Barongal stand. But 4 nevertheless, and he moves to 20 from 27 balls, 2 for 37. Brent Williams to continue from the Randwick end into Walker. He's just nudging that on the onside out through square leg. He'll pick up a single. And he brings the rampant Larkin onto strike. He had a slow and steady start, but last few overs he's really picked up the pace as the New South Wales opener.
If you come in that early, you can afford to just take a few balls to get yourself set.
And he's driving this down the ground. He just bunts it really. Down towards long off, and he picks up a single.
Run rate required has just dropped a little bit, just under 7 now.
So Williams into Walker. Just waits for it, plays it off the pads and out through mid-wicket, but can't beat the man. So 2 runs so far off the over. How impressive has Brent Williams been? He's halfway through his 4th over. He has figures of none for 10. Really has applied the brakes for Penrith from the Randwick end. And he has 2 balls left now, another dot. In he comes to Walker. Down the track he goes, trying to work that past Williams in his return, but he doesn't achieve his objective. This is the 8th over. 2 for 39, Sydney University. They need 88 to win. In he comes again, Williams, and Walker drives straight back to Williams in his return. And what a 4 overs that was by the off-spinner for Penrith. He opened the attack from the Randwick end. 4 overs, none for 10. A couple of maidens in that as well.
I have to totally agree with you there. That's a fine spell of bowling under the conditions. None for 10 off 4 for an off-spinner opening the bowling is quality stuff. And if Penrith happen to get up again, they can be thankful for that spell. But again, they've got a few more spinners under the belt, so again, they'll be looking to replicate that nice and tight bowling from Williams. So we await Collins to bowl his 2nd over.
And he will continue from the Paddington end of the ground. Coming into Nick Larkin, who's been in some recent form at this ground in the last week or so. In comes Collins to Larkin. A little bit of a lofted drive. He didn't quite get onto it. They scurry through for a quick single. The throw is wide, so overthrows. A bonus run for Sydney University, and Nick Larkin comes back for his 2nd. So the pressure is on. After Penrith made the ideal start with 2 wickets, remarkably in the first over of this run chase. Well, this pair have put on 39 so far, Walker and Larkin. Larkin 23 from 29. Collins into Larkin again on the back foot and cutting, past point. Out to the man, a deep cover point. And he picks up 1.
You see the way he's starting to time the ball. Looks very ominous for Penrith if he can stay in.
So a little bit of wind out there in the middle as well. We can hear that through our effects mics, courtesy of the Bar TV crew. Blowing down towards the Barongwell stand as that one's dabbed by Walker down towards third man. Thinks about 2, but it's just the most comfortable of singles. 2 for 43. Michael Collins, first change for Penrith. Only 3 bowlers used so far by the Panthers, and captain Ryan Smith. And Collins is halfway through his second. On the runway again, over the wicket to Larkin. Larkin gives himself some room and cuts viciously down towards third man, but can't get it away for that boundary he was probably after. So a 2 off the first ball, followed by 3 singles. 5 runs conceded so far. 2 for 44, 83 to win. If you're just joining our coverage, Penrith posted 9 for 126 from its 20 overs. An impressive bowling display by the students. Collins into Walker, and working that off his pads. Out through square leg. 1 more to the score. And he moves to 16, does Walker.
He's playing a good hand as well, Walker. Nice and complimentary to Larkin. They really haven't taken any risks so far, Sydney Uni. They haven't had to yet.
Collins in again to Larkin, giving himself plenty of room on the offside to cut away, but it was too wide and ruled a wide. So another sundry to the total. 2 for 46. And unlike the last sundry conceded, it wasn't a no ball, so there'll be no free hit on this occasion for Nick Larkin. But he won't be complaining about the bonus run. 2 men in the deep on the offside for Sydney University. A deep point and also a deep third man. And that is lashed over cover, and not too many words are needed to describe that brutal blow by Nick Larkin. What a boundary. He's finding form, is Nick Larkin here for Sydney University, coming in at number 4 for the students, and he moves the score to 50 for his club side.
That's one of the shots of the day for me. That was beautiful. Positioned so nicely. He knew, he picked his spot, he found it perfectly. Stand and deliver, and again, more ominous signs for the Panthers. Because if he bats through the innings, David, I think he probably will get them home. It's a funny old game as we see Hodges now coming on from the Randwick end. It looks like more spin for Penrith.
Yes, Luke Hodges took 5 wickets yesterday in McDonald's New South Wales Premier Cricket. On the first Saturday of the 2-day match against Western Suburbs at Pratton Park. In he comes, left arm orthodox to Walker, cutting straight to point. So Hodges, a little bit different to Williams. Left arm orthodox around the wicket to the right-hander Walker. Punching off the back foot, can't beat the field. So there's plenty of runs coming from the Paddington end for Sydney University, but not so from the Randwick end. The spinners tying them up. In comes Hodges to Walker. Scampers down the deck and just defends as he corrects his shot at the last minute. No run. So 3 dots to start for Hodges. We can just hear a plane going over the top of the SCG. Hodges into Walker, trying to work that on the offside again off the back foot, and he can't beat mid-off. So this is a tidy start by Hodges. Again, he's racing through his overs a little like Williams was. In he comes Fuller this time. Punched off the back foot by Walker for a quick single. There's a shy at the stumps, but it misses. Brings Larkin onto strike. So let's see what Larkin does. Will he opt for the quick single and look to attack the pace at the other end, or will he just look to respect the delivery on its merits? No, he's having a go at that one. That's cut for 4. Pierced the field expertly. And what a shot by Nick Larkin. He's in lavish form at the moment, isn't he? 33 off 33.
Wonderful shot there from Larkin. Opened himself up a little bit. Down. He was actually down on his back knee and finds the gap for 4. He crunched that. And again, setting a good platform here. As we watch that replay again, that's a wonderful shot behind square.
There's 2 men positioned there backward of point. A man at gully and a man at backward point. And he threaded the needle there, Nick Larkin, to pick up yet another boundary. 5 off the over. It was a tidy one from Hodges until those last 2 deliveries, a single and a boundary. 2 for 55 now. And that boundary just relieves the pressure again, because the situation was still tense, particularly with the tight overs being bowled by Williams and now Hodges from the Randwick end. But it will be Ryan Smith now into the attack, the Penrith captain from the Paddington end, over the wicket to Walker. That's a very good Yorker, which he had to clamp down on Walker. He did well, just trying to work that backward of point, but couldn't get it away for the single he was after. So he's 17 not out from 25 balls. Larkin's 33 from 33, as I mentioned the previous over. We've passed the halfway point now of this run chase. Smith into Walker, and he goes for that one. That's a fierce drive down the ground. It was in the air for a little while, but fairly safe down towards a long on. Picks up a single. So the Penrith skipper has conceded 1 run from his first 2 deliveries. He's the 5th bowler to be used. In he comes to Larkin. He's got the outside edge, trying to cut down toward third man. That's a great catch by Tyron Lydiard. So the vital wicket of Nick Larkin has been snared by Ryan Smith. It was a short ball. It was a bouncer. Outside off stump. Larkin went for that cut shot, which has been quite productive for him so far, but on that occasion it wasn't. That's a fantastic catch by Tyron Lydiard behind the stumps. And the vital wicket of Nick Larkin departs for 33, and now Sydney University, they're in a slightly precarious position at 3 for 56.
Yeah, he opened himself up there and ended up playing it away from his body. It's such a shame. He was really looking to hit his straps. There was a couple of fine shots in that last over, but an absolutely huge wicket for the Panthers. And they're giving him some greetings as he walks off.
There's Nick Larkin. Just trying to get enough bat on that to clear Tyron Lydiard down towards third man. But unfortunately, only found the waiting gloves with an excellent catch by Lydiard, it must be said.
Will that be a game changer?
We'll just have to wait and see. The new batsman at the crease is the Sydney University skipper Liam Robertson. So Smith, he's got 1 for 1. In he comes to Robertson. On the front foot, he plays and misses. That was a slower ball. Didn't quite carry through to Lydiard, so he may have got a little bit of battle on that one. Robertson. Interesting to see on the replay. It was definitely a slower delivery. Rolled the fingers over the seam of that one, did Smith. So in comes Smith again over the wicket to Robertson. This is full, catches the outside edge, but it's well clear of Lydiard, and he'll race down towards the boundary at third man. So a 4 to get off the mark for Liam Robertson. Not the most convincing style, but it's 4 nevertheless, and an important 4 runs for Sydney University. They're 3 for 60, and they still need 67 to win from 55 balls. So that really was a vital wicket of Nick Larkin in this over. 5 runs conceded from it, but the important, vital, massive wicket of Nick Larkin, who made 33 from 34 balls. In comes Smith to Robertson on the front foot and driving out through point. Will he pick up 2? They're coming back. There's a big appeal for run out, but umpire Beren Duplessis says no, not out. They get home for 2.
The throw was just a little high. He had to bring it back down to take the bails off. If it was a little bit closer, I think he could have been in trouble. But it was a great piece of fielding out there in the deep.
So at the end of the 11th over, this is the state of play. It's 3 for 62. Sydney University needs 65 to take out the Thunder Conference final.
Or will it be 2 in a row for Penrith?
We'll have to wait and see. Hodges continues from the Randwick end. It's punched down the ground off the front foot by Walker. Picks up a single. He moves to 19. So a good start there by Sydney University. Penrith, they've done well. 2 wickets remarkably in the first over. A wicket with the very first ball. Key wicket of Hayden Kerr, and Ryan Smith just picked up another very vital wicket, that of Nick Larkin. Here comes Hodges. Down the track goes Robertson, gives himself some room, but unfortunately doesn't time it at all and hits it straight back to Hodges in his return. Hodges with the figures of none for 6 from 1.2. In he comes again to Robertson. And again, lofts over cover as it cleared the boundary rope. It has. It's gone into the stands, that one. He's given that plenty, Liam Robertson. And that's a vital 6. Big hit. And he timed it to the shorter boundary out there. And finds the Barongal stand. Clears the fence.
He was just given a little bit of width there and he took full advantage. It's a wonderful stroke. Again, picked the short boundary, but still plenty to do to get it over it. And that's a very handy 6 for Uni.
Very handy indeed. Just relieves that pressure again. Hodges into Robertson, this time on the back foot, cutting, beats the field, beats backward point. There's a man coming around, but he won't be able to cut it off. So another 4 more to the total. A boundary just in front of the members. And that should give the Penrith support squad plenty to cheer about.
It's funny how a couple of balls can change things. Again, he's taken that off the top of middle and leg stump, and he's squeezed it through the gap down to the third man fence.
Not the Penrith support squad. It should give the Sydney University support squad plenty to cheer about. And there's another 4 for the Sydney University supporters to get excited about. So 6, 4, 4. And that last one, another lofted cover drive by Robertson. And he's rocketed along to 20 to really take the pressure off this run chase for Sydney University.
Wow, tough going for Hodges here. Hasn't done too much wrong in this over, just a slight amount of width. And they've taken, well, particularly Robertson, taken full advantage.
In comes Hodges to Robertson on the back foot, cutting, and he's beaten that man backward at point. That's 3 4s in a row. And 3 4s to follow a massive 6 over cover. So 6, 4, 4, and another 4 to complete the 12th over. A massive 19 from it. An 18 off the bat of Liam Robertson and Sydney University. Didn't they need that? 3 for 81, and now they only need 46 to win from 48 balls. The run rate is under a run a ball.
That definitely could be a game changer. As you said, Dave, we're now under a run a ball, 46 off 48. That's a massive over for the students. And maybe the wicket of luck, and might have been a blessing in disguise, the way that Robertson started.
Well, Smith to continue from the Paddington end. Into Walker, and he goes over the top down towards long on. Nice little chip shot for 1. And he moves into the 20s. He's 20 from 28. And Robertson, he's provided the acceleration that Sydney University required. That last over he hit 18. A 6 followed by 3 4s in a row. In comes Smith to Robertson. This time he's clipping off the toes down towards long on for an easy single. He moves to 25 from just 9 balls faced.
The Sydney Uni boys is now starting to get a bit More boisterous now after that over.
And Penrith are on the back foot. 44 to win for the Students. In comes Smith to Robertson. Cleared the front leg and he was going to give that everything, plus the kitchen sink, to try and clear the boundary on the onside, but he didn't connect. Fortunately, probably for Penrith, given the form he's in. Pardon me, Walker, after the single to Robertson. So I don't think Walker needs to get too excited. He just needs to play a support role now for Robertson. Smith over the wicket to Walker. Walker on the front foot and again trying to hoik that down towards the long on boundary. And I think the captain, the Sydney University skipper, who's currently 25 from 9, is just, well, he went to the centre of the pitch just to do a bit of gardening there.
Maybe a quiet word from the middle of the pitch.
I was thinking along the same lines, David. So Smith into Walker and a false start. So as we mentioned, Penrith looking for their second consecutive final after they went down by 36 runs to Sydney last season at this ground in the final of the Kingsgrove Sports T20 Cup. And looks as though there might be a bit of a delay because, well, once we finish this over at least, because the black sight screen at the Randwick end has blown over. Smith into Walker in the meantime, who's playing that off the back foot and just nudging out to point with soft hands, and he picks up a single and he gets Robertson back onto strike.
Yes, well, let's fingers crossed we don't have another 25-minute delay this time. Just need to tie that down.
Hopefully the ground staff are aware of it. I'm sure they are. But no, it's just blowing back into place there, so it's just going to correct itself. Smith to Robertson, outside off stump, and Robertson just tries to work that backward of point. He can't get it away, so 25 from 10 he remains. That was a good over in the end by Smith, just the 3 runs conceded. So 43 to win from 42 balls. But a couple of overs like the one previously from the Randwick end, courtesy of Liam Robertson. And Sydney University may canter to this victory target of 127 in no time. 19 taken of Hodges in his previous over from the Randwick end, and it looks as though that has forced a change in the bowling.
Looks like a change of ends for Collins as well. Come from the Randwick end this time.
I'm not even sure whether Liam Robertson would be too worried about the sight screen at the southern end of the ground here. He's hitting them that well. Although it would be very hard to pick up the white ball against the white background, it must be said.
No question, but when you're in that form, I'm sure you could tell the difference.
But it will be Nick Walker on strike. So what can Michael Collins here produce for Penrith? They need a maiden or something very tidy around that 2 or 3 runs off the over. Collins over the wicket to Walker. Walker on the front foot and trying to work that on the onside. Liam Robertson was backing up a long way there and he had to retreat quickly.
Nice and tight from Collins. He needs a really tight over here to pull Penrith back into this match.
Sydney University with the upper hand, and we have less than 7 overs to go. They need 43 to win from 41. In comes Collins to Walker, and he's cutting outside off stump, but misses the bat. Good keeping by Lydiard behind the stumps. Claimed the catch to dismiss Nick Larkin. 33 from 34 to Tyron Lydiard. Very promising young keeper batsman for Penrith. In comes Collins again to Walker on the back foot. Gave himself plenty of room. Worked it nicely off the hip. They're going to look for 2. There's a bit of a mix-up and a shy at the stumps. It was well wide and Lydiard had to go a long way to try and bring that back in.
It was a good decision not to take that second either. It's a bit slow running that first one. Was Walker.
But he was keen, wasn't he, for that second run. So, and Robertson seemed obliged to follow suit. Plenty of wind out there. Collins to Robertson, drives out through extra cover. It's well fielded to hold that to 1. Interesting to see who completed that brilliant piece of fielding there. Sliding across to his right. But in the meantime, it's Collins to continue from the Randwick end. Into Walker on the back foot, and again he just dabs. He's done that a number of times in this innings. It was a firm throw back to Lydiard. I don't think there was much point in that one because they were well safe. Brings Robertson back onto strike, so 3 consecutive singles. 3 for 87, 40 to win from 37 balls for Sydney University. They made 2 finals last season. And again, that sheet, that's gone down the ground. He's given that plenty, Liam Robinson, but I don't think he's quite timed it, and it's dropped. It's dropped down at long off. So he gave that plenty in terms of getting it up in the air, but not enough to reach the boundary rope, and it's been dropped in the deep. Not sure who that was. He advanced, did Liam Robertson. He went inside and out on it. And the fielder coming around from long off, got under it. He probably just lost his footing slightly. Number 12, it was Chris Withers.
Just got big on him late too. I think he covered too much ground.
So that's the end of the 14th over. So just updating the test match. India have been dismissed for 283. So Australia have a lead. Let's get back to that. Back to the action here. And that has gone a long way. A long, long way. Walker. He sent it into the members. What a hit. And just when Sydney University needed it, Nick Walker. What a shot. Just picked it up, scooped it, and it went all the way. Couple of stands back in the members.
Oh, that changes it up again. 32 off 35 now. If they can keep the momentum going this over, Sydney Uni, they'll be in a good position.
Smith from the Paddington end, and again he thumps it down the ground. It was flat,
shot.
It was hard, and it's gone all the way for 4, so 10 runs off the over so far with the first 2 deliveries.
Now that's a wonderful shot. Absolutely crunched. There was only one place that was going. Straight into the fence.
So 3 for 99. The wind is really gusting up here at the SCG. But it's not bothering Nick Walker at this present time. He's 33 from 37. And to start this new over from the Paddington end for Ryan Smith, the Penrith captain, he's hit a 6 and a 4. In comes Smith again. Walker. That's a better ball. Great Yorker, in fact. But Walker was good enough to work it down the ground. Robertson was looking for 2. But his partner sends him back. 34 for Walker. 11 off the over. 27 to win from 33 balls. So that run rate, importantly, is under a run a ball now. 5.5 overs left. Smith past the umpire over the wicket. Again, in at the toes this time of Robertson. He just easily works it down the ground. Picks up a single. Another good over for Sydney University. Their supporters are getting excited.
Bit of banter with Ryan Gibson down there on the mid-on boundary fence.
Yes, Ryan Gibson, New South Wales Blues player, down at long on. So Smith. And he comes again over the wicket to Walker. What will he do this time? It's a full toss, but Walker, he couldn't get onto that one. He just punches it down the ground towards Gibson at long on. So another single to the score, 13 off this over. A very good one for Sydney University, and so far throughout the day, We saw St George defeated by Sutherland in the Sixers conference final, and St George were undefeated heading into that final. Well, Penrith were likewise heading into this final of the Thunder Conference. This is fallen on leg stump, and Robertson can't get it away. So the end of the over and a good way to end what was an expensive over for Ryan Smith. 13 from it, and it started with a 6 and a 4, followed by 3 singles. 5 overs left, 25 required, so 5 runs per over is the required run rate for Sydney University now. They're 3 for 102, and as I mentioned, Penrith entered this particular final undefeated, and Sydney University, they were the underdogs in some respects, but a great bowling effort to restrict Penrith to 9 for 126 from its 20 overs. Devlin Malone, more wickets for the leg spinner. He picked up 5 yesterday in McDonald's New South Wales Premier Cricket. Another 3 today from his 4 overs. He was tidy as well, 3 for 18. So less than 5 runs per over in this form of cricket is brilliant for a leg spinner. And it looks as though Trent Weir is coming into the attack, David.
He is indeed. 25 off 30. This is going to go one of 2 ways for Penrith. Again, if they can get 2 quick wickets and bring 2 fresh batsmen in, they're still in with the show.
They've got nothing to lose here, Penrith. They've been in some great form in T20 cricket in particular over the last 2 seasons, but in all forms of cricket this season as well. They're second currently in the McDonald's New South Wales Premier Cricket competition halfway through round 8. Trent Weir, in he comes to Walker on the back foot and working down the ground through the legs of Robertson. Did well to evade that one, and he gets on to strike. So Walker 36 from 40. Robertson's been lightning, 29 from 14. He took 18 off 1 over from Luke Hodges, which really turned the momentum well and truly in the favour of the students in this run chase. And now Sydney University require 24 to win from 29 balls. In a T20 scenario that looks as though it should be a comfortable chase, but anything can happen. But at the moment, it's Sydney University who are the warm favourites. What can Penrith do here? And more importantly, what can Trent Weir do? In he comes to Robertson. That's well wide of off stump and called a wide as such. So a sundry.
It's the last thing they need, Penrith.
So Weir. In he comes, left arm orthodox. This is slog swept a long way into the stands, is it?
Oh, that's shot of the day.
Oh, I think it is. That's a massive hit again by Liam Robertson. If it's not into the stands, it's hit the fence.
I think you find it might have gone 2 or 3 rows back there and bounced back in again to the largest side of the ground.
Big hit by Liam Robertson. What a captain's knock by the Sydney University skipper. In comes Weir to Robertson. This time, hard hands, drives it out through extra cover. Should pick up a couple. Out to the man in the deep. He does. So far, 10 runs have been conceded in this over. And now 15 more required for Sydney University to become the Thunder Conference champions, book their spot in the National Premier T20 Championships in Adelaide, and also a spot in the final. Well, that one's missed the bat, and I think it's a missed stumping by Tyron Lydiard. A little like, I think it might have been Jamie Brown earlier in the day, sort of just played all around it. Well, Robertson played all around that one from Trent Weir and almost departed back to the pavilion. In comes Weir to Robertson again, hard down the ground, and he moves to 38.
We've got to give Lydiard the benefit of the doubt there. It actually come off the batsman's pad and past him, so it wasn't actually a missed stumping as such. A bit harsh on the keeper there.
Still was an opportunity though. He's a talented keeper. A pressure situation, and unfortunately couldn't get the job done, and that's just chipped down the ground by Walker. And these two have really turned it in the favour of the students. Walker and Robertson. That over has conceded 12. And now Sydney University in total command of this run chase. And 13 to win.
Unfortunately for Penrith, the Pink Party bus might be heading up the M4 sooner rather than later this evening. It's been a fantastic partnership from these two, Walker and Robertson.
It really has. They came together at the fall of Nick Larkin's wicket at 56.
That's right.
And it's currently worth 58. And in comes Collins. And this is again over the top, and it should reach the boundary rope, pierce the gap. It has, just in front of the ladies' stand. So Walker moves to 41, and now just 9 required. So as we just see a replay, full middle and leg stump, down on one knee, and well, it wasn't quite a slog. It was quite a nice shot in the end by Walker. He just hit right through the line, pierced the gap, found the open pastures, and 4 more. In comes Collins to Walker. He goes in that direction again, a slog sweep off one knee. It's well fielded by Ryan Gibson just in front of the members' stand, so they'll just get the 2. But I think the end is nigh for Penrith, because Sydney University look destined to progress to the Kingsgrove Sports T20 Cup final, which will kick off in about an hour and 20 minutes time. Scheduled to start at 6:30 tonight, so if you're not doing anything in and around the Moore Park area tonight and you feel like watching some quality cricket, pop down to the SCG. In comes Collins, over the wicket to Walker again on the back foot. He just dabs to the man at short third man, and he picks up a quick single. So he's played a key hand. 44 from as many balls. On a wicket, it must be said, David, that's been difficult to bat at times for the 4 teams involved in the finals.
No, agreed. Obviously, the Sydney Uni probably got the best of the conditions all day, but it hasn't been easy for any of the batsmen. Very tacky early on after yesterday's horrendous rain.
7 runs so far from this over. 6 to win. And Robertson's tried to do it with one big hit. Has he found the man the deep? He has. So Ryan Gibson, I think it is, just in front of the members' stand, takes the catch at long on. And the brilliant knock of Liam Robertson comes to an end. He just tried to complete the victory with one clean strike, and unfortunately he's found the man in the deep. 4 for 121, 6 to win, and there are 20 balls remaining.
It's a shame he wasn't there at the end, because he certainly has turned the game on its head and getting the applause he deserves. Some wonderful hitting. That was the only one he's mistimed all innings, and the Uni fans certainly rising to their feet. And as David said, it's just mere formality now. 6 required off 20 balls. And a thoroughly deserved win by Sydney Uni. And funnily enough, David, the 2 undefeated sides that batted first in both matches today are going to go out.
So it looks as though the toss in the final may be key. Whoever wins the toss may in fact bowl first.
Oh, will it? Again, will the conditions be the same as what they were earlier? Good.
Will the bowlers get a bit more swing under the light? So that's another thing to consider as well.
And plus the possibility of weather later on tonight. So many things to think about.
Plenty of variables. So 7 runs in the wicket. Batsman cross, so it'll be Nick Walker on strike. And just defends straight down the ground, and it's fielded by the man at wide mid-off. Liam Robertson made 38. And he certainly wasn't out there for 38 balls. He got stuck into the Penrith attack. To put it politely, he really did blaze away.
It's been great to watch too.
So in comes Collins. 1 for 31 so far to Walker. Drives down the ground, beats the umpire. That was as straight as a die by Walker. Picks up a couple. Wouldn't it be fitting if he could bring up his 50? He moves to 46 with those couple of runs. And that's the end of the over. 9 from it. He's 46 not out, Walker. He's got himself back on strike. The new batsman at the crease is Tim Cummins, who is the brother of Pat Cummins, who's currently playing in Perth for Australia. And of course, one of the world's best fast bowlers. And, well, his brother's quite handy as well, particularly with bat in hand and behind the stumps with gloves.
3 wonderful stumpings today, plus a catch. So he's had a pretty good day out.
He really is an accomplished keeper, is Tim Cummins. Made an important 121 not out from 100 balls in the Limited Overs Cup Grand Final against Parramatta at Old Kings Oval last season. Player of the final.
I'll never forget it. I was there and I witnessed that. It was an amazing innings.
Really did turn that match on its head. He won't get an opportunity to face a ball, I don't think, in this particular fixture. He might if Walker opts to take a single. But 4 runs to win.
No, he's on strike as we speak, Cummins.
Oh, he is too. That's right. Of course, there was a 2 taken, so it is Cummins on strike. So he will get the opportunity to get some runs. Not on that occasion, though. It's a wide down the leg side. 4 for 124. 3 runs to win now. It's been a superb all-round effort by Sydney University. They will play Sutherland in the Kingsgrove Sports T20 Cup final. It appears. In comes Smith. And that's played on the offside for a quick single by Cummins. And he's going to give the honour to Nick Walker to hit the winning runs. And as I mentioned just an over or so ago, wouldn't it be fitting if Walker could reach the boundary here to bring up the winning runs, reach his 50 in the same breath, because he really has played the match-winning knock in partnership with Robertson and in partnership with Larkin. Larkin 33 from 34. Robertson 38, a quick-fire 38. In comes Smith to Walker, and he has found the boundary rope. It's a square drive out through point. He finds the boundary out in front of the ladies' stand. He brings up his half century from 47 balls, and that's victory to Sydney University. They are the Thunder Conference champions of the Kingsgrove Sports T20 Cup, and they booked their spot in the final in about an hour and 15 minutes time against Sutherland, featuring Steve Smith. What a match, what a run chase by Sydney University. Great all-round effort there after they restricted the Penrith side to 9 for 126 from 20 overs. They've finished at 4 for 129, just running through that batting order for you. Nick Walker, he was there right from the start. 50 not out, and he lost 2 partners in the opening over. Penrith made the ideal start. A wicket off the very first ball. Hayden Kerr departed for a first ball duck, and then they were 2 for 2 after the first over. But it's been Nick Walker with a very important half century, well supported by Larkin with 33, and Liam Robertson, the Sydney University skipper, with a rampant 38. Well, those 3 have got the students over the line to beat Penrith, who were previously undefeated heading into this Thunder Conference final. And just for a final summation, I'll hand the reins over to David McDonald.
Well, a very interesting game, that one. Again, Penrith lost 2 early wickets and then off to a flyer with some great bowling from Sydney University. Pulled them back into the match, restricted Penrith to 126. And then the shoe was on the other foot. 2 quick wickets, 2 ducks for Sydney University. But then it was the Walker show, of course, with Larkin. Larkin looked absolutely outstanding and was looking like he was going to provide something special. But when he was dismissed, it was Robertson's turn, who took over and gave us a hell of a show and a thoroughly deserved win to Sydney University. And I've got to say, David, it sets up an absolutely mouth-watering clash with Sutherland at 6:30.
It certainly does. So we're all set up now for an enticing encounter between Sydney University and Sutherland, 2 very strong clubs throughout the McDonald's New South Wales Premier Cricket competition this season so far. So it'll be the students against the men from the Shire. Both of those sides also book a ticket to Adelaide in March for the Foxtel National Premier T20 Championships. We hope you can join us in a little over an hour's time for the final of the Kingsgrove Sports T20 Cup under the lights of the SCG. It will be Sydney University against Sutherland. Thank you very much.